going to be taking a look at this Dark Horse, and I'm going to try to explain why I think this car is so special, and also why it might become a future collectible. Now, I know I hear a lot of people hitting their keyboards right now saying, well, it's just a Mustang. Well, I'm going to have to disagree. But before we start, if you guys are new to this channel, my name is Jeff, and this is where I share all my random passions with you guys. I do have a firearm collection and a watch collection if you guys would like to check it out on the channel. But today, we're going to be talking about this Mustang Dark Horse and why I think this car is so special, and also, again, why it's going to be possibly a future collectible. So taking a look at the Dark Horse, this is a new nomenclature. For the first time in roughly 20 years, Ford has come up with a new naming convention of the Mustang Dark Horse. That's a plus side and a negative side. So the plus side is that yes, this is a new nomenclature, a fresh beginning. The negative side is that there's no current legacy, right? This has no history behind this name. So for some people, they're just like, it's just another name. Yep. I'm gonna go ahead and go with yep. God, that sounds so good. So yes, currently Ford is creating a legacy for this car with all the races that the Dark Horse R is involved with, and obviously the GTD. Right now, all those races are taking place, and we'll see how the car does. I mean, it's all a new beginning for us, right? So us as in the Mustang community. But while that's taking place, we will see what the future will hold. But with this Dark Horse, what makes it so special is the GT500, which carries the Shelby name, is no longer in existence. You're probably thinking to yourself, well, why are you bringing that up? That's the GT500, has nothing to do with this car. Well, that is the thing. So it absolutely does. So the internals for this car, the pistons, the rods, the crankshaft, and possibly the bearings are in this Coyote motor for the Dark Horse. Along with the exhaust, as you just heard, that's the same exact exhaust that's on the GT500, along with the brakes. So you're looking at 15.4-inch piston brakes, 6-piston brakes that are on this car. Now, according to Car and Driver, not according to me, but according to Car and Driver, this car outbrakes the GT2 RS, the Porsche, which is absolutely insane. So with 15.4-inch 6-piston brakes that are shared from the GT500 into this Mustang, along with a revised 10-speed transmission, and you have an option for a Tremec, which you can't get in the GTs. The rear axles are also stronger in this car. When you add all that together, it's not just some Mustang, all right? In my opinion, this is a unique Mustang platform, which in my opinion makes this car so special. It is going to be possibly a future collectible for those reasons. Now, the Shelby GT500 is no longer being produced. So the question I have is that are these parts currently, obviously they are being produced, but will they be as required in the future? Meaning, on the parts list, as they're building these Mustang Dark Horses, will the parts be as required? Meaning that if something happens to this car, they will build the parts, or maybe a small batch of parts, to address any issues that some of the customers may have in the future. In other words, it will no longer be mass produced. If that's the case, that could be why there's a limited production on the Dark Horse. Currently, it says limited availability. Now, I don't know for sure what the meaning behind that is. My assumption is that the parts for this car, they're only making a small batch because, or they're just leftovers from the GT500, one of the two. So in the future, that is the question. The question is, will these parts become as required and only built when necessary? That could make this car more unique and more rare down the road. My assumption is that's what's taking place, because I don't think, at least to my knowledge, that the GT500 is coming back, at least not in a Shelby variant. So if that is the case, which it sounds like it is, this might be the only platform that I know of from Ford, right, especially the Mustangs, that are sharing the parts from the GT500. And if that's the case, I just think that is pretty cool. So what does that mean as far as a consumer? Most consumers that are buying a Mustang I want to say most, but a lot, they might not care about the performance. So the extra 20 horsepower that you're gaining with the Dark Horse from them added parts that are shared from GT500 might not mean anything to them. But the reality is the Coyote motor in itself is one of the best motors out there as far as performance, in my opinion, and it's only become stronger with these additional parts from the GT500. So if that's the case, which I believe it is, this is the strongest Coyote that's been built thus far, which again makes this car pretty special in my opinion. Now, it's only making 500 horsepower. I say only because in today's world, I mean, it's absolutely insane. However, you do have an option for a Stage 1 Whipple from Ford with a factory warranty. So it's not custom, it's not aftermarket, it's from Ford, which brings the horsepower to roughly a little over 700 to the tires, which is flywheel is roughly about 800 horsepower with a warranty, which I think is absolutely insane. So not only will you get the horsepower of 720 plus to the tires, but the car can handle it. The motor can handle it. The trans, the brakes can handle it. That's, in my opinion, what makes this car so freaking special. I'm coming from the C8 Corvette world, at least as of recent. I had 2 C8 Corvettes. They could not handle it. I mean, the factory block of the internals on the C8 Corvettes cannot handle, at least not for a long period of time, 750 plus to the tires. So having that option in this car to have that Stage 1 Whipple from Ford and the motor and trans could handle it, it was absolutely mind-blowing to me, including the rear axles. Now, I'm not judging the C8 in totality. That car is amazing. But it just goes to show, I don't know how many cars right now that are in the $60,000 range, because this was $67,000 retail. I don't know how many cars that are starting off in the 60s where you can actually handle 720 to the tires or more, right? Currently, as of today, so some cars have been discontinued, they can handle that kind of power without touching the motor, the internals, without upgrading the transmission, without upgrading the axles. I mean, I just don't know that many that can do that. So, I mean, what a world we live in. What a world we live in right now with all these cars. I mean, this is the pinnacle of the car world right now. I don't know how long it's going to last. I mean, the fact that you can get these cars now, some are making over 1,000 horsepower plus. I mean, right off the factory, I mean, that's just absolutely insane that we have those options in today's world. This car also comes in a stick, as I stated before, the Tremec. I don't know how much longer that's going to last. I don't know how much longer we're going to have the opportunity to have these cars in a stick shift. I mean, they may be few far in between. So, you know, I say that to say enjoy it while we can. With cars that are, I hate to say it, becoming electric more and more, I hope that becomes a thing in the past. I really do. But we'll see. We'll see what happens in the future. But currently, I'm going to enjoy this platform while I can. And that's just my opinion as far as this car. Now, guys, give me your thoughts. Give me your opinions on this Dark Horse. Do you think this is just another Mustang? Do you think that, hey, you know, you really shouldn't be comparing this to a C8 Corvette? I'm comparing it to certain aspects of the C8 Corvette. And I can do that because I've owned both. Not to mention the mag ride on this car has absolutely been revamped from the previous model. Now, I've never driven the S550, so I can't tell you how good they were or weren't. But coming from the C8 Corvette and the mag ride in that car, this is comparable. 2 different platforms, absolutely 2 different cars. But the way it feels for everyday driving, 4,000 plus miles later, and I put 11,000 miles on one of my C8 Corvettes, this mag ride is absolutely comparable. They did a hell of a job in this car. So, my opinions are, this is not just some, you know, Mustang that's out there. It's comparable to all the rest of the Mustangs. This is a completely different package. So having said that, you know, for some people, this is going to be a lot of money. I mean, we're used to Mustangs being more, I guess, a cheaper price point. But you got to remember what you're getting. For all the things I just communicated as what this car has, I think it's worth it. Again, I paid $67,000 for retail on this car. The days of cars being a lot cheaper, I hate to say it, but those days are probably over. Now, I used to own a few Fox bodies in the past, so when I first got offered this car, I literally had no idea what to expect. And to say I was shocked is to say the least. Between the mag ride, the upgraded brakes, everything from the GT 500 and what this car has to offer. I mean, quarter mile is roughly high 11s with the 10-speed, 0 to 60s in the high 3s. I mean, this car is made for the track. It's not really made for quarter mile. It does weigh a little bit. It does got some weight. I will admit that it could lose some weight. But this is a track-focused car, and as Car and Driver has already showed, it's one of the best braking sport cars you can buy. I mean, it outbrakes the GT2 RS according to them, and their testing. I'll put a link below. That's insane. I just don't know what else to say about it. So, guys, give me your thoughts. Give me your opinions on this Mustang Dark Horse. Do you think it's going to be a future collectible? I don't know, unless it's as required down the road, how much longer they'll keep on building or making these parts, being the GT 500 is discontinued and those parts are used in this Dark Horse. I don't know how long they're going to do that. So give me your opinions, guys. In the meantime, like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much for tagging along, and I will see you at the next upload.